We're at the Akron Art Museum at this amazing exhibition of the work of Michelangelo Lovelace, Art Saved My Life. We've stopped in front of a painting called Streetology.
I'm really excited to share this picture and Michelangelo Lovelace's work in general. He's an artist who was born and raised and lived nearly his entire life in Cleveland. He had formal art training, but he chose this simplified style so that it seems as if these things are coming right from his mind into the picture.
I love the forthrightness of his work, and that's especially clear in this painting. Not only in the direct, rough handling of paint, but the way that the painting is mapped out. And I use the word map specifically because it's as if we're looking at the city, but also somehow we're looking at a map of the city.
Lovelace looks at the city grid as a place where he can fill it in with all manner of different things. And it's not like it's the actual city, it's like an idea of a city. In the bottom left, we have the University of Hard Knocks, which specializes in survivalology. So survivalology already is a really suggestive word. The idea that surviving in economically depressed inner city areas could be considered perhaps as an academic kind of a skill set. It's serious, it takes thinking, it takes extended study before you can understand how to live the life that Michelangelo and people like him had to figure out without necessarily a written instruction manual, but with communal wisdom. So there are degree programs in all manner of things, from pressure management to hustling to kick-ass and take no prisonersology.
That curriculum is listed under a street sign, which is Life's a Bitch Avenue. And I love the way the avenues define this space. We have the horizontal at the bottom, and then we have a street that recedes into the distance, but does it with a kind of incredible velocity. And so you get the sense that life is quick, that this is all speeding by. And I find it interesting that that street has only one detour, that there are almost no turns we can make. On the left, we have the University of Hard Knocks, but behind it, we're confined to the street by a tall steel fence with barbed wire at its top, which defines the perimeter of a large prison and a graveyard.
It's Mr. Charlie's super maxi prison plantation. And the prison connects across the canvas to a billboard that spells out the text of the 13th Amendment, which passed just after the end of the Civil War, which outlawed slavery, except involuntary servitude is still allowed as a punishment for a crime. And Lovelace highlights in consequential red that word except. The idea that one can be convicted of a crime and then forced to labor can very rightly be viewed as a continuation of slavery, particularly in the United States, where policing is not equal across races and Black Americans are more likely to be incarcerated and then potentially subjected to forced labor. However, at the bottom of the prison sign, it says that this is a prison for Blacks, Hispanics, whites, and others. So there's an understanding not just of race, but also of class. And you see the police cars leading new people in with a police dog, the police van that's labeled 666, suggesting something devilish.
And then just at the top of the prison, you can make out a guard tower with two armed police training their rifles down on the population below. And the power of that image feels especially acute because it's paralleled by another ubiquitous institution, by a school.
Lovelace was often painting in response to current events, and he dated his pictures oftentimes not just with the year, but also with the month. So this one is dated July 1999, and the Columbine school shooting that really shocked America, that happened in April of 1999. So this is just 3 months later. He's including a school shooting in this picture. The schoolyard, on the one hand, got a swing set, on the other hand, it's another graveyard. And for even a school to turn into an institution that can't be trusted or that can't be assumed to be safe, that presents a really pretty harsh overall picture of the major institutions of American life.
Beside the school, we see God's house of worship. But like the school, the doors are closed. The prison doors, by contrast, are open. And then just adjacent to the church is a corner store that's selling beer and wine. And while the church steps are empty, there are plenty of people there.
Lovelace talked about there are times in life where you have the choice of which path you're going to go down, and his urban environments suggest that you really have occasions to make that choice on a pretty constant basis.
I'm really struck by one of the billboards. You see two policemen, one with his gun trained on a black man's body that has been shot multiple times. And to the right, it says, freedom ain't never been free for us.
Across Lovelace's career, you can see protests against police violence. He insisted on this as an issue for a long time.
He's also made room to reference bricks, and they seem over life size.
Lovelace grew up in a variety of different parts of inner city Cleveland in public housing, and they were all invariably made out of bricks. Lovelace, from that, gained a love of brick architecture. When he and his wife Shirley bought their first house in 2015, they made sure it was a brick house.
And because the painting is so visually compelling, it draws us in and it invites us to spend time with the realities that it raises.
This whole show, you see representations of really difficult, intractable issues, and it can feel like a lot, it can feel tough, but I always urge people to see the positive side of Lovelace's pictures. I think an honest appraisal of the world around us covers the good and the bad, and even with the harsh issues in this picture, if we can point to the things that are making life unfair or unreasonably difficult, that's a first step toward doing something about them. There's always this sense of there being a next step to take. It's not the end of the story.